But my word, 2024 is going to be some year. I mean, if you think 2023 has been a banner year, and if you understand what happened in 2023, just wait until 2024. It's going to for sure be the golden year. No, my Cybertruck prediction, I think, is being a little cautious. I think they could get to 100,000 and perhaps a little bit more. And if we actually do enter a recession, I'll let you in on a little secret about recessions. They're normally quite short.
2024 is going to be an amazing year for Tesla. Our guest today has had the most number of predictions actually come true, and he's once again going to take a stab at what he expects for the coming year. 4 months ago, he not only predicted Tesla will announce a factory in India, but that it would be based in Gujarat. He predicted that a supercharger partnership would happen before it did, and he correctly predicted the day when Tesla would celebrate its 5 millionth vehicle production. We've got Larry Goldberg with us, and he is just hitting it with all of his predictions. Many times he's done it on this show, and then it happens. So that's why I love it when you're here. So today you created a list of your observations for 2023, and then you've created a list of what you think is going to happen in 2024. This is the kind of stuff I really love to do. Thank you so much, Larry.
Thanks, Herbert. Great to be here.
Let's start with 2023. Just give me like a high level, what's your impression of what happened in 2023? For me, my answer would be that it was the year that the legacy OEMs capitulated. And it was also the year that Tesla kind of put things in place that while many of us aren't seeing it happening, but it really is in place. You had the factories, you had the master plan part 3, you had the Optimus demo being just shown as improving. Just so many things that have been happening. Well, would you characterize 2023?
Yeah, I listed quite a few things, but to me, what I consider to be most important is the emergence of the maturity of the Tesla management, or the emergence of our understanding of the emergence of the Tesla management. We saw this, at Investor Day. We saw these 20 executives on the stage. We listened to them. We realized the depth of the management, and then we saw that with the Cybertruck announcement and how Elon kind of stepped back. He did one interview with Sandy Munro, but other than that, he stepped back and let his lead guys kind of take the stage. And I think that's very, very important. It tells me that we're seeing, that Elon has developed this kind of trusted cadre of management, and that this is a very, very good indication for the future, given the multiplicity of businesses that are emerging as important to Tesla and the multiple profit centers we're seeing at Tesla. So for me, that was the overriding theme of the year. Now, there are a lot of important events occurred, but that was the overriding theme that emerged of importance to me.
Love it. Yeah, that's a very, very important one. The management team, Elon, and what they're doing strategically and tactically. So let's go through the list that you created. This is so much fun because I create similar milestone lists, but you have a different perspective than many people do. So why don't we start with the first bullet points, and then I'll come back to this list as you go through.
Yeah, so the announcement of the Mexico factory, very important. We had been waiting for it, seemed to come late, and then it came. And, after a lot of rumors, and I think India is about to spring on us. I believed India was coming some time ago. Very excited about it because of my background and experience in running businesses in India. I love the opportunity for Tesla. I think it's ideal opportunity not only to manufacture inexpensively in India, but also because I think the market is really blossoming. And it'll be marvelous to see Tesla lead that market in the move into EVs. So that's very important. So I need to see the list to remember what order they're coming in.
Well, let's go address that first one, factories. So just to get everybody up to speed, Giga Mexico was announced early in the year. We all thought it was going to happen sooner than later. And then the last quarter, Elon stepped up and said, we're not going to put full pedal to the metal. But in the last month here, the governors of Mexico, Nuevo Leon, came out and said that all permits are done. We've working on the infrastructure. We're having multiple meetings with Tesla, and groundbreaking is imminent. So there's some sort of change in terms of, actually proceeding forward with Mexico. And then with India.
To be very specific on that, he did say they were going to continue, but they weren't going to put the first production line of next gen in Mexico. They were going to put it into Giga, Texas, and start the production and start the first line there, but that they were going to produce it in Mexico in due course. And so I think we're going to see Mexico build this year, but not at the pace that it would have had to build in order to put the production line, the first production
that makes
line
sense.
in there.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Okay, and then with India, these are rumors, but 4 months ago, you actually said that you are going to predict that Tesla is going to announce a Gigafactory in India, which is a big prediction on your part. And recently, in the last month, we actually heard a lot of governors and government in India talking about that they're going to reduce the tariffs. They're going to really welcome Tesla in. The governor just today, is he governor? The prime minister of India came out and said that he's actually very confident. And then Elon is scheduled to go visit in India in January. And so there's the rumors have just heated up today. So you called this a lot earlier. So we'll see what that happens.
Yeah, the Prime Minister of India was the First Minister of Gujarat, famously, and had been for some time, and had really driven the industrialization or the continuing industrialization of Gujarat, which is the most productive state in India and known for its industriousness. And so I, reading the tea leaves back mid-year, I was pretty sure that was where they were going to go and where they were going to establish their factory. It makes sense because, they have excellent education in Gujarat. They have a lot of infrastructure in Gujarat. They have great ports. They have, all kinds of facilities that would indicate to me that it would be a good place to establish a factory. And I have a good friend here in Kerry who actually comes from Gujarat, and he and I we strategized on this, and we came to the conclusions that it was on the cards once we heard that they were considering changing the laws. It's not a done deal yet, but I think it's awfully close to a done deal.
Wonderful. Okay. Next things on your list is Tesla Investor Day, 4680 batteries.
Yeah, the Investor Day was incredibly important to me. I mean, firstly, we learned an enormous amount at the Investor Day. Some of the so-called, predictions I made came from the tea leaves that they set out or that they left, in the cup from Investor Day. It was, I have gone through that deck, I think 4 or 5 times now, and I've gone through the transcription 4 or 5 times. The amount of information they gave us is just staggering. It just amazes me how people missed so much of what they told us. They told us about the 48-volt battery. They told us about the EE, electronic and electrical architecture. They laid out the profitability of the charging network. All of this stuff was just there. So, it wasn't so much predictions that I made, but I read the Investor transcript, and they revealed the next gen vehicle. They revealed what looked to me like a van, and I've heard people predict the van as the next model. It's more than probable, and so it just. And the other thing they did at Investor Day is say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and advertise. And that's been very important. People think, oh, well, they haven't, put up a, Super Bowl ad. No, they're tackling it in an extremely classic Tesla way. It's going to roll out with a bang. It's going to roll out big, but they're laying the groundwork step by step by step, and it's going to be novel. It's going to not be like auto companies have ever advertised before. They're going to change the rules of the game forever, and everybody's going to comply because they're going to first principles. And so we're going to see a massive change in their approach.
Another big potential prediction here. I can't wait to the 2024 ones. Let's keep going through this. Let's see if we can do this faster. The list of
so the 4680 batteries, we've learned that they're putting 4 more lines up. The first line is getting highly productive. 4 more lines up. I think everybody's saying big failure, 4680 battery. Yeah, it's taken longer, as typical in Tesla. They always predict a shorter timeline than they're able to deliver. But it's going to be a huge supply. I mean, a massive supply. When I did the actual numbers, 5 lines producing at their full, I mean, it's going to be no end of batteries and 4680 batteries. And they're starting with version 3 of the battery right now. So I'll talk about that in predictions. And then the Tesla bot, they announced the Tesla bot at AI Day, but wow, the progression of the advance is just incredible. They started from way behind the rest of the market, and now they're way ahead of the rest of the market. It's just amazing. Just iteration upon iteration upon iteration of a mass production version of a bot. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then the ICE sales decline, we have seen the beginning of the secular decline of ICE sales. You heard it here first. I don't think we're going to see another year with 15 million of ICE sales, certainly not of 16 million. And so I think the secular decline has begun.
Yeah, the bot was incredible. 9 months later, look where it's at now. It's just so quick. And then the secular design, the decline, that's going to be a big deal, and it's going to happen sooner than we think. So it's good to hear you really predicting that's going to be, we're already at the peak. And this is your continued list here?
Yeah, and then vehicle price disruptions. We saw elements of this starting in last year, but this year it continued apace. And Tesla disappointed everybody by actually being quite aggressive in their price reduction. I see this continuing, not necessarily with a significant contraction of margin, because I think we're going to see some of the savings from the improvement in the supply chain, as Jeff Lutz has guided for us. So I think while we will see a continuing decline in prices, I don't think we will see, a contraction of the gross margin at anything like the rate. I think we're at close to the bottom, if not at the bottom of that. And I think we're going to see a significant improvement. I think the initial production of Cybertruck is going to cause somewhat of a reduction in gross margin percentage across the board. But I think that Cybertruck is going to be the most profitable vehicle that Tesla ever produced, probably until the Semi is in volume production. But it's going to be an incredibly profitable product, incredibly profitable. I'll talk about that in the predictions. Energy, we saw energy begin to break out. So we're starting to see the flow from Lathrop. We ain't seen nothing yet. I'll talk about that in the predictions. Dojo, we finally got to hear that Dojo's in production. That was a pretty incredible moment in time. And then we know we're going to hit the 1.8 million sales yet again, 50% growth year on year on year on year, nonstop. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's why it's interesting that some people still think of 2023 as kind of a lost year.
They judge the company by the share price. I projected that the share price would stabilize and would not do that well. Some people think it's done quite well. Other people are very disappointed it's not yet returned to its high, all-time high. I could care less. I think we're going to see some really big numbers, but probably not even into 2024.
Yeah, not yet necessarily 2024. All of this is just setting the stage, and then there's going to be massive growth with energy, with Cybertruck, with the bot, everything's the compact car. All right, so then 2024. So
you live at Robotaxi, by the way. I don't know.
In Robotaxi, yeah, because again, FSD version 12 was just released now to 15,000 employees, so it seems to be moving along quite nicely. So 2024, a lot of the bears we just covered in some of our shows here, they think 2024 is going to be a challenging year for Tesla. Meanwhile, there are some analysts like Dan Ives of Wedbush Securities. He came out and he said 2024 is going to be a golden year for Tesla, and you wanted me to put this up here. You believe it's a golden year as well?
Yeah, I think Dan was reading my tweets. I shouldn't say that. Dan Ives is, one of my heroes. I love the guy. I love the way he dresses. I love the way he speaks. The guy's got he should be a poet. I mean, he's amazing. And he writes extremely well. And, he's been on target. He's been a bull for years and years, and he's been on target. And I think that he brings a lot to the table. But my word, 2024 is going to be some year. I mean, if you think 2023 has been a banner year, and if you understand what happened in 2023, just wait until 2024. It's going to for sure be the golden year.
Yeah, so actually Dan agreed to come on my show. I'm going to have a one-on-one interview with him next month. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's go down your list here. So you've got 2024, this your predictions in many cases. So
yes, so we're going to see the India announcement early in 2024. It could even happen still in 2023. There are a few days left, but I think it'll happen early in 2024 officially. I think we'll see Elon and the Prime Minister of India together making the announcement. I think it's a very important moment for India and a very important moment for Tesla. And for sure, we're going to hear that Lathrop has reached its full capacity. For sure, Nevada, the building is going to begin in Nevada. It's been delayed. I don't even know what those delays are, but I have faith that we'll see the production, the development begin. China Megapack factory, they say, is going to be in production by the third quarter. I mean, it would be amazing, but I'd be very excited about that, because I think they will go to the full two-line production at the outset, which means that we will start seeing production by early of 2025. But just the completion of the factory should spur a lot of interest, because, as you'll see in a little bit, I expect the flood of energy revenue and profits to come in 2024. What we've seen now is not even the beginning. What we're seeing now is just the buildup in terms of our revenue and profits from energy. So we're going to see that in really, really, tremendous output. So very excited about, all of these developments. I couldn't think about, what could be better other than Mexico actually starting and building, and perhaps even being ready to start moving machinery in before the end of the year.
Yeah, and the other two things you didn't list there, but they did make the announcement that Giga Shanghai is going to expand, and this expansion has been approved, and it's going to be for the compact car. And then when Elon was at Giga Berlin, he announced that Giga Berlin is also going to be a site for the compact car. So we're going to hear a lot more expansions of the existing factories. And I bet you we're going to hear an announcement or some sort of reveal that Giga Texas is also producing the compact car. You've already said that that's the case. It is the case, but we need to actually show it in production by 2024, sometime there.
I agree.
So many things happening for the factories. That's a great list. PR department, tell me more about that. What's your prediction there?
Well, they're hiring for the PR department. We know that. Tesla Boomer Mama, I think, broke that information. They're hiring for a very significant PR department. And, it's going to be classic Tesla. It's going to be, they're going to think about the first principles of how to go about it, and then they're going to go about it, and it's going to change how people talk to the press in the future. And how they advertise. And so we're going to see a sea change in Tesla's positioning in the media. Now, it's true that, Elon does not trust the media, and I think there's ample reason for that. But I think that how Tesla deals with the media and how it positions itself in the media is going to be a very big change in how it's been done in the past, and it's going to set the standard. And I think we're going to see advertising on a larger scale, on a very significant scale, but done in a way that only Tesla can figure it out to do, again, based upon first principles. So I'm very excited for that, because I've been one of those who advocated that Tesla needs to speak to the public in a much more visible way that people have access to, that a lot more people have access to than just those followers on X.
I love it. Yeah, the only thing I have been predicting is that the first principles concept of public relations and advertising, I think it's got something to do with word of mouth marketing. Give the tools necessary for the fans and the customers to spread the word. Let them tell the story better. I think there might be something there that they might reinvent. We'll see. All right, then you have predictions here for the 4680 batteries too. What's your expectations for that?
Yeah, I've spoken about this. Look, Tesla have told us there are going to be 5 lines up. They're busy putting the equipment into place. They've told us that they're reaching, full production capacity on their first line. So I think we're going to see this quantum leap in output of batteries. Everybody's, bemoaning the fact that the Tesla 4680 battery has failed, blah, blah, blah. No, it's just as usual, a little bit later than they wanted, a little bit later than they had planned for, but it's going to be a phenomenal success. The rate at which the Cybertruck is building in terms of production is actually beginning to surprise some people. I'm not surprised. I think we're going to see the 4680 batteries come online in a big way. We're going to see the Cybertruck output of 100K Cybertrucks, and we're going to see a resumption of 4680 batteries in the Model Y in Giga Texas.
Okay, so this part here is one of your predictions that many people are not yet falling in line with you. You are out here saying that Cybertrucks will sell 100,000. They'll be able to produce 100,000 by the end of this year. When you saw the Sandy Munro tour of the factory, you were out there going, I really think that they're going to be able to produce 100,000 Cybertrucks. This is one of your big predictions. But yeah, you just made a big statement there about 4680 batteries being able to ramp up quickly, not only to support Cybertrucks, but Model Y. So do you want to speak to your Cybertruck prediction?
No, my Cybertruck prediction, I think, is being a little cautious. I think they could get to 100,000 and perhaps a little bit more. Look, things could go wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Things could go wrong, but I have a high level of confidence in that 100,000. I think they're off to a great start. Look, they have to get their machines dialed in, and there are still some pieces of equipment being awaited. There are, but I think that once they get dialed in and all that equipment's in place, the rate of production is going to go sky high. So I think they'll be producing 4,000 to 5,000 Cybertrucks a week by the end of this period. So, big numbers for 2025 for sure.
Yeah. So that is a big prediction on your part. Tell me about the next one, which is R&D expense. What's your prediction for that?
Everybody's going to be very disappointed to see the rate of expansion of R&D expense. Mm-hmm. You and I have spoken about this before. I've talked about just how much money they're going to have to invest for all the stuff that they're doing. They're going to have 3 Gigafactories in development before the end of this year. They're going to have the Megapack factory. They're going to have the expansion of Shanghai, the expansion of Berlin, all underway before the end of the year. They're going to be, getting to the peak of Optimus development. They're going to get to the peak of FSD development. And they're at the peak of getting the next gen developed. I think we're going to see a 50% expansion of R&D expenditure. Now, I do want to say that Tesla treat their R&D differently to the rest of the auto industry. Tesla do not capitalize their R&D and then depreciate it over, 5-year straight line development, as most of the auto companies do, which, is a very, very, conservative way of accounting that Tesla's doing. But I think I think that they should switch to the standard, because people compare them to General Motors and the other Detroit companies, and they compare them to the international companies. And the comparison is unfair, because you have to recast the depreciation before you can do that comparison, particularly in a period of dramatic rise of R&D. And they're facing a dramatic rise in R&D. I know that Elon hates spending that money. I know Elon hates spending any money, but R&D is the one thing that he does spend on, and we're going to have to deal with that. So we're going to see a very substantial rise in R&D expenses. And this is why there's not going to be a buyback in 2024 nor in 2025. Gary, I hope you heard that.
Yeah, for sure. Now, this is the other thing that I don't know if you mentioned, but I know you know about it. It's the Dojo and AI compute and the competition. It's a war going on. They need to throw more money at this. It's about the level of compute. And so they need to do that. So this R&D expense is more than, they'd already increased it from 7 to 9 billion to 9 to 11. But you're saying it's going to be even more than that for 2024, you think?
Yeah, I expect by the second quarter, they're going to be talking about an increase in that expenditure. So I have very little doubt. I think you and I shared some research I had done that showed a very substantial increase in R&D. And, that's the reason that they're conserving this cash. I mean, there is this, next gen, Dojo, batteries, new plant in China, just so much stuff. Now, a lot of it is not R&D, building a factory is not R&D, but the work going into the new production lines, that's R&D. Work that's going into the new batteries, that's R&D. There's going to be the next gen of batteries. There's just so much R&D that they face. Optimus, to me, it's going to be an increase, and the market, the stock market may not treat it very well because of their accounting rules. And so again, I'm not looking at 2024 for stock price movements of much consequence.
Okay, good thing that we know when we heard this from you. That's important to understand this and watch it. You have some thoughts on the margins in China. What is this about? This is shocking, surprising to me. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think we're going to see margins in China under pressure in the first couple of quarters, and I think we're going to see a very significant improvement in the back end of the year. The margin problem is going to be because China's under enormous stress at the moment, enormous stress. That and a huge production coming up of cars that are competing below the Tesla current models, and which are going to eat somewhat into the Tesla sales of their current models, which is going to force the pricing down. So I think we're going to see price pressure resulting in margin pressure, even as volumes increase. This is classic China. Well, certainly classic China in tougher times. And China always goes through these ups and downs, although this time may be a very bad down. So I think we're going to see early in this 2024 pricing pressures in China.
We'll see if you're right. You're pretty good at these predictions. This Model Y, there was rumors that came out that it's supposed to be in product or in plans, and that it will be released. The revised Model Y, the Juniper model, will be released in mid-year 2024. China themselves, Tesla China, came out and said that that is false. What's your expectations for the new Model Y?
Yeah, one of the problems of Tesla's, blanket "this is false" statements is they don't tell you which part of it is false. Are they saying that no, there's no Juniper or there's no Model Y refresh coming? No. Are they saying there's no Model Y refreshing coming mid-year? Probably. So it's going to come. It's going to come before the end of the year. Whether they do it at the end of the year, they do it at the end of the third quarter, or the end of the first quarter, I don't know. But I believe it'll come, and I believe it'll be for competitive reasons, because they have to. A lot of people are coming out with Model Y competitors stuck at the Model Y 2019 launch. I think what we'll see is the next level of Model Y, just as we've seen with the Highland.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's going to happen next year, 2024, for sure. Interesting. Okay, and then your prediction for Tesla Semi. They did announce that Tesla Semi is going to be in full production in 2024.
And I agree with them. Who am I to disagree with Tesla? Yeah, I mean, 2024, because the batteries are going to start coming in earnest, I think we're going to see, the 2170s. I'm not sure what battery they'll end up with in the final Semi, but I expect to start seeing actual commercial deliveries of the Semi begin next year. And I'm not talking about volume either. I think but commercial deliveries. That's going to be a very successful vehicle. I wrote about that earlier last year. But I think it's going to be an incredibly successful vehicle. Real, volume, revenue, but it's going to take a couple of years to get to that.
Okay. And then this big one, this is the next one, which is the Optimus in production. That's going to be the one I think that could really, really move the stock, move the company forward. We just saw Elon do a tweet very recently saying that Tesla's an AI and robotics company. This is going to solidify that. What's your expectation?
I think we'll see the beginning of volume production, or the test of volume production for Optimus for use in the factory. I think it'll start, late in the year. This one could slip until next year. It really largely depends, again, on the timing and the staging of the training. The fact that we'll have Dojo at full power by the end of August indicates to me that they will be ready to start rolling out the bot later this year. That's my hope. I mean, some of these could slip a little bit.
Yep. And me, I'm the one that's very, very optimistic about Tesla Bot. Yeah. And I think that it's going to be maybe not full production, but certainly decent size and then numbers, but, showing that it can actually be useful in a factory is what I'm saying. Okay. Next big one, of course, is the next gen vehicle. You actually believe there's going to be a reveal in Q4. Many people don't believe that they're going to do a reveal. For some reason, the narrative in the Tesla retail community at this point is they think that Why would Tesla do a reveal of the next gen vehicle? Why do the same thing that happened with the Cybertruck? Instead, only reveal it months before it's actually going to go on sale, as opposed to, too far ahead.
Well, I think there are quite a few reasons why a company will reveal a car well ahead of its actual delivery. One is to build expectation and to build an order book. And the other is to actually determine how desirable the public sees that vehicle. And the other is, you don't want to actually start driving your sort of test vehicles around and people see them, and there's all of this rumor and stuff like that. So I do think that they'll want to put it out. I just can't understand what the negatives about that is. I mean, they talk about Osborne effect on the Y. The Y is a different car. It's a different price. They talk about the Osborne effect. I mean, the 3 and the Y just do not compete, even begin to compete in that price bracket. I mean, we're talking about a price bracket, I think, of between 20 and 25, 20 being the low-end model, 25 being the top-end model. And, the S and that's before credits. So we're talking about a whole different ballgame here. I don't understand this. I know the rumors going around. I've read them. I don't put any credence in them.
Okay. Now, these next 3, your predictions for 2024, I think they're pretty big. They are the ones that go against, I've not heard anybody else say these things. And so I love them. I love it, Larry. So first, you're saying that the energy sales are going to break out. The reason I say this is because most people know and already tracked what's going to happen with energy. Many actually think that the stock price already has it built in. Many of the analysts will say, well, yeah, we already know the energy projections for 2024. I'd be curious to say why you think it's actually going to be much more than we expect. This number, 2.4 million deliveries, this is at the high end of anybody else who are predicting what they think is 2024 predictions. This shocked me when you mentioned it the first time. And then a new Gigafactory announcements. Is this beyond India? Because this is something that, again, everybody is saying there's no Gigafactories. They can just expand their current factories. They're going to, even India was a shocker because they haven't even started in Mexico. Which one do you want to address first here? Start with the top.
Well, the energy sales to me is quite simple. They're paid in energy. They're paid on energy sales when, in progress payments, the bulk of which come when the installation is actually, I think, when the installation is actually is actually storing and producing energy. And so there's a very long time cycle of payment. And I think that they have a huge backlog of those payments, and they're only beginning to hit the balance sheet. And I'm not talking about cash payments versus receivables. I think they only get to bill when they actually prove the installation. So I'm assuming, and I believe, that we've built the backlog from the first Lathrop deliveries, and I think we're going to start seeing that money coming through, and the expanded development of Lathrop is going to drive that by the end of next year. So I think we're going to see continuing growth in that, and we're also going to start seeing the deliveries from China at the end of the year. Now that will be, most of that will come in 2025, but certainly I think Lathrop deliveries and its expansion is going to come through in 2024. So I think in early 2024, we're going to see a very significant rise in energy billings. And as we get to this back half of 2024, we're going to see the increase due to the expansion of the factory.
Yeah, more than what's being expected, more than what's already been counted in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing the projections. People are, looking at the past and they're looking at now and say, well, it rises at about X% per quarter. No, it doesn't. it rises significantly more than X% per quarter, but it's deferred. That deferral is what we're going to see hit early next year.
Okay, sounds good. Now this one, 2.4 million deliveries. You're on the far end here. That's bullish.
Yeah, well, I called 1.8 million this year. I was very comfortable they make it. Some people were actually below it. The 2.4 million is based upon, Berlin continuing to ramp significantly. I see Fremont actually improving its deliveries in next year. I see the Cybertruck selling the 100,000 that I called. And I think that China is going to hit the 1.1+ million next year. Certainly, they're beginning to show their ability to do that. And so I think we're going to see 2.4 million. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
You've been right many times before as well. I actually agree with you because we're already at the 2 million run rate. Do you believe that Tesla will sell every car that they make? I think the answer is yes. And so then, by the end of the year, 2.4 could be achievable if today is already 2 million run rate. I will
just make the point that 2.3 million cars, based upon the 4 models they have now, 2 mass market models, 2 top end models, is a very significant reach for that model mix. And that's one of the reasons why I see pricing pressures over the year, and even margin pressures over the year.
Yeah, they might have to cut prices to continue hitting those targets, but they will. They'll just keep selling everything they make. All right, the final big one is new Gigafactory announcement. Are you talking beyond India?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking at sales in 2026, 2027, and I think they're going to need a factory. If they do add the van and if they do add robotaxi, they're going to need very, very significant production. The robotaxi is going to be a very big seller in the Indo-Pac, very big seller. We're talking about, combined, a very large market. So I expect that before the end of the year, we are going to see, Tesla gearing up for the robotaxi. And that's going to need a lot of vehicles. Now, maybe a year, maybe in the wrong year. It may be 25, it may be early 25, it may be late 24. But at a point in time, we're going to have to announce a plant to add to the robotaxi capacity. When you're talking about robotaxis, you're talking about 20 million vehicle target, right? We talked about this about a year ago, about where we're going to have to get to before 2030. And it's already end of 24 is 25. You've got 5 years. So.
But you have also said, though, that you expect that we might go into a recession. And then Elon has said that he's not going to invest in a net new factory because of the potential, you can get caught there in terms of, he called it a money burning furnace when you're first building out these factories. And so that's kind of the, depending on what happens next year. But you're not fully convinced we're going to get into the, the rate cuts and we're clear yet. So it's shocking that you would actually think that there might be yet another Gigafactory.
Well, look, here we are. They're looking at a Gigafactory in India, and I would say that, I join Elon in being very concerned about the economy for the future. And if we actually do enter a recession, I'll let you in on a little secret about recessions. They're normally quite short. It takes a little bit of courage in the middle of a recession to see the other side of the recession. So my predictions are made that the economy is going to remain, roughly where it is right now. I think a recession could well disturb some of these dates and times and deliveries. So it's like predicting the stock price. Back a year or two back, I was predicting the stock price, and I kept on saying, this is subject to the macro. This is subject to the macro. And people don't understand the macro. The impact can be very significant, but very often it's very significant for a relatively short period of time, as we experienced, by the way, over this last downturn in the market. So, yeah, we could have some of these perturbed for, some months. And that's why I say I could be wrong for that very reason.
All right. Well, this is good. So let's just quickly review some of the things you're saying for 2024. You got these factories expansion everywhere, which is significant. It's beautiful to see this list. And then, like we said, there's going to be Giga Shanghai expanded, Giga Berlin expanded, Giga Texas expanded. You got the PR department. You think that there's going to be some sort of big, giant announcement that's going to just a bit more of a, not just a, regular way that companies do advertisements or PRs. The 4680 batteries.
I don't think I said a big, giant announcement. I think a very significant change, but I'm not sure it's accompanied by a big, giant announcement. So,
okay. 4680s, you're pretty bullish. You're talking about 5 lines. You think it's going to happen sooner. This one was a big deal. You're the only one we've heard there's think that it's going to be 100,000 Cybertrucks next year. You're predicting that R&D expense is going to 50% growth in that because of all things that are happening. Margins in China, you talked about the new Model Y, the Tesla Semi. Optimus in production, it's a big deal for all of us. Next gen vehicle reveal in Q4. And then the 3 big ones, I think. Energy sales, you think it's going to be even bigger than what's already expected. 2.4 million deliveries, again, is at the high end. And even a net new Gigafactory announcement. Love it. How confident are you? There you go. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Okay. No, but it's good because you do make these predictions. And as I said at the beginning, you've been pretty accurate. You've been making these predictions on this show. And then I have to come back and say, hey, you did it right. So
but which ones have I got wrong? I'd be interested. I haven't tracked them.
What? Are you telling me that they haven't got anything wrong? I have to go back.
I'd be interested.
Okay, this is a bit of a shocker, Larry. Okay, I'll have to look back and see if there's anything you ever said that ended up not happening. This is great. Thank you for doing this with me, Larry. This is great. Perfect timing. We got to look at the 2023. Again, what you said there, which is nobody's talked about, is it really is about the bench of the Tesla executives. That was really the critical because everything falls out from that.
Yes.
And then you got 2024.
And Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah. Follow Larry on X, Tesla Larry. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.